Dr. Luke, presumably you have something to advance your
I'm privileged to introduce Dr. Claudia Luke from SSU. I met her because she manages the 3 preserves, wildland preserves that Sonoma State has, and I'll let her tell you more about those. But my wife and I have a good friend that we were having dinner with a couple weeks ago, and she's another doctor, and she flies around the world as a futurist, advising big companies on whatever futurists advise big companies on. And we were talking all this negative stuff about where we're at environmentally and socially and politically, and I asked her, where's the bright side in all of this? What do you, where's the upside? And her answer was, well, it's the young people.
Yeah.
And they are not going to be putting up with this. So we have speaking to us today somebody who's really where the rubber meets the road on that, training young people and exposing young people to make an environmentally ready generation. So the information that I sent out in an email, I won't repeat all that. I'll just say, here you go.
I thought just a little bit about what I do. I've spent about 20 years managing wild natural areas for universities and making sure that faculty, community, students are able to have protected areas to do educational research. And most recently, about 9 years ago, I came to Sonoma State. And they have 4,200 acres of 3 preserves, one on Sonoma Mountain, one in Mendocino County, and one in the Valley of the Moon. And this was just a golden opportunity. Sonoma State is a liberal arts and sciences college. There's about 9,000 students there. It's at a scale that we can really make those lands a central part of education for all students across campus. So I wanted to show you where we are in that process of developing these programs. And just take a look. This was just a great introduction from Charlie, because that's exactly the kind of conversations that we were having about what are we going to do? What does the future look like in the best possible scenario? Okay, so I want to talk to you about creating an environmentally ready society, the good part. So here's the bad part. I just told you I was going to do the good part. This is just, we know about this, right? We're facing some of the biggest challenges in history, and then we know that on top of it, with the changes in climate, we are expecting that those challenges are going to get more difficult as we move forward. And most recently, we know that these are issues that are not just happening on a global level, but they're close to home. And often when I say environment, we often think about environment being out there, and that's a problem with our culture, is we don't realize how connected we are to the land. We get everything from the land. We extract resources, we deal with, we get water and we get too much water, or we get not enough water. All of those things are central to our culture. So, what does it look like if we actually put our best foot forward? What can we hope for? And I think the most important thing we can do is think about what kind of a society we need to have, because there isn't going to be one size fits all solution. You can't just say, oh, the answer is X and everybody needs to do it in the world. These solutions are going to be coming from local solutions. So what we need a society, local society, where all sectors, business, human services, medicine, artists, everybody knows how to work together. They realize that they need to show up to come up with a solution, because it's this societal interaction with the environment that's the challenge. And then we need people who at least have some basic knowledge or motivation to work together to try to find solutions. So, that would be great. Do we have that right now? Are we doing well? And in particular, what's the next generation coming up look like in terms of their ability to work together to solve these challenges? So are they motivated? And it's a very difficult time in history, human history, and that this generation is the least connected in terms of their personal interactions with our natural landscapes. So, right, that's in part because of the technological revolution, right? So the young people that are in college now are on average spending 63 hours a week in digital media. And if you look at the flip side, I just saw a statistic the other day that the average child now spends 4 to 5 minutes outside every day. So it's a real challenge that a lot of the students coming into the university are actually afraid to go to natural areas because they have no frame of reference. Are there bears that are going to get me? Are there mountain lions? What are the risks of being in these areas? Then the other question is, are we knowledgeable as a society? And if there have been quizzes that they put out just to find out how do people know where their resources come from? And 86% of people in the US can't pass that test. And then are we great communicators? Are students that are coming out of our universities and going into professions, are they great communicators? And right now they're calling it a soft skill crisis, where there's a lot of CEOs, almost 60%, say they can't find the college graduates they need with communication skills. So soft skills are like problem solving, communication, that kind of thing. And then finally, are our universities really making sure that these issues are part of all degrees on campus? And we still have universities that have silos. Oh, the environment, that's about science. It's not part of business and the arts and even the social sciences sometimes. Okay, so doom and gloom, but the really good news is we actually know what to do. It's not like we have to study the problem and figure it out. We know that there are really high impact educational practices that can really transform people and achieve those kinds of communication and environmental awareness goals. And the 3 things that we need to do are outdoor learning, real world projects, and get all disciplines engaged. Let me just tell you what I mean by that. So learning outdoors, this is a really interesting area. There have been decades of research now on outdoor learning. It's really, it's a really amazing resource for education. If you even took a classroom and you knocked down all the walls and stuck it in the middle of a natural area, the students in the classroom learn better than they do when they're inside. So humans are wired to be outside. There's a relaxation, a creativity, and a sort of a social interaction that happens. And that research, a lot of people don't know about that. And I just wanted to say that there's been very good documentation now on the benefits of intellectual, emotional, social, spiritual, physical. It's like, okay, humans are supposed to be outside. But also, if you just take the academics outside, students are much more creative, they have better problem-solving skills, and their academic success goes up. So you can even boost retention at universities with these kinds of experiences. And then what do I mean by real-world projects? This is also an essential human behavioral thing. When you are told to learn something, oh, this is important for you, learn it. It's not motivating. But if you say, oh, I want to get this done, so I better learn this skill, then you learn it really well, because now you're going to, you know why you're learning it, and then you're going to apply it, and you're going to see the benefits of it. So real-world projects are opportunities where students are actually working with community members, and they're getting guidance from faculty. So they're interested, they get the information they need, they work on regional challenges. And this is also extremely well documented. Here's the Nobel laureate Carl Wieman, saying the data on the power of these techniques are so persuasive, it's almost unethical to teach undergraduates in any other way. And the data on the right just show the same thing, that if the standard lecture approach that we have in classrooms, that's the blue, you get students' failure rate is around 33%. But if you just use active learning where students are engaged with the material, the failure rate goes down. And similarly, their test scores go up. So that's what we do. So I'm the director of the Center for Environmental Inquiry on the Sonoma State campus. And that's what my focus is on. How can I get faculty, well, mostly students with faculty, engaged with local communities in environmental challenges? And in particular, let's do it with two things: outdoor learning and real-world projects. So I want to just give you a few examples of the types of projects that we've been able to get students engaged in. So here's a project that's on Copeland Creek. We know, I'm going to refer back to our global issues. So we know that flooding is increasing. So heavy downpours have increased by 20% in the last 50 years. And in many areas that translates into floods. So we have students who are studying Copeland Creek. It flooded homes in 2017 and has a history of flooding. And they've been working with the Sonoma County Water Agency, just changed its name to Sonoma Water. And Sonoma Water is now using the results of understanding how the flooding occurs in order to come up with engineering solutions to improve safety of the local communities. We have students studying air pollution. So I don't know if you know, but 1 in 10 people in Sonoma County have asthma, and it's the #1 reason that children miss school. So it's a big issue. And asthma has increased by 15% in the last decade. So we have some students, engineering students, and they started working on a low-cost sensor. And the reason they're doing this is that there's 2 air quality stations that are in the whole county. And the air rating on those stations says, hey, we're doing great. We have some of the best air quality around. And it's because those stations are only tracking particle size. And there's a lot of other irritants that can be in the air. So what the students have done is they've designed a sensor that can track a number of those different irritants. And it's low cost, so you can look at, we have topography. And if you have air quality in 2 places in the whole county, you're not going to understand why there are these clusters of asthma popping up in different places. So now the city of Rohnert Park is deploying or installing this prototype sensor at City Hall, and with it is an education poster made by another student to help people understand what's important about asthma and monitoring. And then finally, another example, for last fall when the fires occurred, we were able to pivot and really start working with faculty and students to get them engaged in understanding wildfire. And we have at least 15 projects right now going on campus. But large wildfires, as you know, they're 5 times more common today than 45 years ago. You've all heard that the frequency is going up. And we have actually about 3 classes, 5 different projects. Students are studying the impacts on Sonoma County landscapes. One of the issues is if you get very severe fires or you get more frequent fires, you can actually change the habitat, change the landscape. You can get rid of certain species and other species increase. So they've been documenting those recovery impacts, those impacts on different species. Some species are increasing, some are declining. And that's work with the Sonoma County Regional Parks, which has been really helpful for them because they haven't had that kind of manpower to monitor all their sites. So they're using those results for management decisions. And of course, each one of these partners that we have, there's a number of things they're getting out of it. I mean, they're getting the information, definitely, and often the great ideas too, because the faculty are at least on top of their field in terms of what the latest ideas are. So they're bringing new ideas, but they're also getting a trained workforce. They're getting students that have those soft skills, those communication skills. And they know about the issues that are coming to them. I mean, if you might want to know what kind of impact might the upcoming changes in climate have on your business. So how are we doing that? What is it? What's our secret? What we're doing is actually relatively innovative. It's something I haven't seen at other universities. The key things that we do are learning outdoors. Like I said, we give these students skill building experiences. And I mentioned we have 3 preserves, 4,200 acres. I think I have a slide. Yeah, okay. And then in terms of the real world projects, we're supporting faculty. So what we do is, it's a real challenge for faculty to know what's going on in the community. I mean, especially at CSU campuses, they're teaching a lot. So how are they supposed to show up at all these different community things going on? So we go out into the community and we participate in planning initiatives and we talk to people about priorities and find businesses that are interested. And then we make that connection happen on campus. And real world questions, they're not just one discipline, you know? It's not like, oh, I have one philosophical question. It's often this whole thing. What do we do about the floods? Well, there's a business aspect. Let's go talk to this faculty. There's a political science aspect. We'll go talk to this person. So often one project will have multiple student projects engaged. So we do that connecting and that diversifying. And then we provide like academic, like they're trying to figure out how to fit it into their curriculum. Or we help with the schedules, do you know when the faculty are looking for projects, or those kinds of things. And then also funding for them as well. And I just wanted to say this was our outdoor learning resource, which is invaluable. These 3 preserves that we have in Mendocino and Sonoma County are that grounding experience. We need to get those students back to the land and say, yeah, I'm motivated, I love this place. So we have about 1,500 students a year now going out to these sites. And, I just mentioned this, sorry. We work with the community, we schedule logistics curriculum development, and now we're working with about 50 faculty in 26 departments that are on campus, so it's cross-disciplinary. And then what we've done, this is in our track record since 2010. This has been a really successful method. We've had an 8-fold increase in these kinds of activities. 1,700 students a year learning outside, 500 students in real world projects, 5 schools, faculty, about 60 partners. But what really matters, of course, is the impact that has on students, right? It's the personal experience. Did this change you? What do you think? So here we have Ruben, who says, I ended up learning more than I had in the classroom. There's nothing at the university like it. They're more motivated. Here's Kelly saying, it was the funnest units I've ever had. And this part, it brought out a desire for learning in me I didn't think I had. It's huge, huge. They learn skills. Those can be outdoor skills, but it can be accounting skills, any kind of skills. These help me with my professional career. And then finally, they're also ready to share that information. So they talk a lot. I'm now motivated and excited. I makes me want to teach others about the environment. So just a little bit about where we're going and what we want to do. We're trying to reach all students at Sonoma State. So we want everyone to have the chance to reconnect with the environment and have the chance to do something within their discipline that is oriented towards environmental problem solving. And then, as I mentioned, this is an innovative model that you just recognize that there's these barriers, and then you have a center whose job it is to lower the barriers and make these opportunities happen. So I've started talking to other universities about how we might be able to go after funding to do some collaborative work so that we can share this model. I mean, we have about, 3,500 students a year that graduate from Sonoma State, but we have 250,000 that graduate from the CSU system. So we could really, if we spread this to other universities, there's a huge influx of of students every year who could graduate with these experiences. So our next steps on campus, just moving it out to all students, is that we are working on immersive overnight experiences. You can intensify the kinds of social experiences that occur outside with overnight experiences. We are now ramping up, so we're looking for more staff time to engage more faculty, and then we are growing our incentive grants for student supplies and travel to go out to these sites. And if it's going to be a real-world experience, you better go there. So with that, that's it. I wanted to, though, at the end here, play you a 3-minute video, just so that you have a chance to see some of the things that the students are doing.
What are we growing at the Center for Environmental Inquiry? For the Center for Environmental Inquiry, Sonoma State is making environmental understanding integral to a university education, no matter what your degree.
We're growing skills.
We partner with regional employers to provide students in the arts, humanities, and sciences with skill-building experiences at Sonoma State's 4,000 acres of preserves. These include internships, training programs, and both scientific and creative inquiry projects. Students get to develop highly sought-after skills, while employers get access to a workforce that's ready to take on environmental challenges from day one.
Working with the center as an educator, we are able to help students learn the things that they can't learn in the classroom.
We're growing innovation.
We are providing the student opportunities to work on cutting-edge technologies.
We grow in careers. My experience has been that the students that are coming out of Sonoma State now have a skill set that's actually above and beyond some of the skill sets I've seen coming out of schools.
Without a doubt, my experience at the center was key to helping me find a job.
The professional experience that they're getting really gives them a leg up being able to get a job in this competitive marketplace.
We're growing community.
One of our most exciting projects was the Soundscape Project, a dance production that engaged students from engineering science, environmental studies, and theater arts.
We get to bring all sorts of people together in this program. Students, professionals, and community members. At the end of the experience, we all have a common goal.
We believe the center serves as a model for a 21st century education. We want to give our students more than just a degree. We want to give them hands-on experiences working with our community to solve its toughest challenges.
What are we growing at the center? Innovators, problem solvers, and leaders. People who are going to make the world a better place.
We're growing
a whole new approach.
A whole new approach to environmental
leadership.
Just one other thing. Just in case, I want to know if anybody's interested, this is our last...
Sorry.
If anybody's interested, this is our last year's annual report, which has information, contact, and descriptions of some of these things. So I think Anne, you left some...
right up at the front. Please take one.
Yeah, at the front if you're interested.
And I can always mail if you would like to give you the address.
We have enough time for a couple questions, and maybe Dr. You willing to stay after and answer.
You bet.
Go ahead.
Real quick, do you have data that you're able to track on where your alumni have gone and their successes after being part of this program?
So we're working on that right now. That is the big bugaboo, isn't it? I mean, it's really difficult. What we've started doing is for every student that goes through one of these projects, we've really encouraged them to get onto LinkedIn. And then that's the way that we can track and see how their careers develop. But it's quite difficult. We've also started working with the Alumni Association at Sonoma State, where we don't have those data. We just have vignettes. You know, we have individual stories.
A quick question.
Yeah, one more, and then we'll have.
I'm a graduate of Chico State Biology Department.
Oh. No, I don't know.
And they have Eagle Lake Biological Field Station, and in the 70s I was up in this place. Are they advancing like you've advanced with the integration of all the different faculties?
Yeah, unfortunately, Eagle Lake is a sad story because from what I understand, they no longer have Eagle Lake. They closed it down. So, no.
Well, I'm sorry I asked that question.
All right.
Really sad.
Thank you very much. Dr. Luke, we have a few things here for you. A gift, most excellent four-way test notepad.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And we have one thing that we ask all of our speakers to do, and that is to pick one of these lottery tickets.
That somebody didn't pay for.
Someone didn't pay for. And read it off if you like.
Okay.
I put my buck back in my pocket.
Number 333056.
He did not pay.
Rich get richer.
Easy.
I don't know, I hope do we have a prize? Oh, Nancy did bring a prize.
Paul Harris won, for God's sake.
Yeah, I know, I saw your. All right, see.
I swear there's more cards.
Bruce, by the way, I apologize that I misidentified you. It was actually Marty that hadn't brought the gift last.
Well, you should have remembered.
Yeah, well, I remember now.
Doesn't the secretary have the ability to find the president?
Oh dear!
Such a false.
Oh dear! Oh dear!
Our honored senior member.
What are we finding him because the secretary wasn't paying attention?
For falsely accusing.
Oh, there it goes. Well, thank you, Bruce, very much. Nancy, what did you bring? Looks like a beautiful gift.
It's a bag.
Chocolate! Chocolate! Okay, so, well, good. Well, excellent. Well, you know, this is not the other thing. Way clean joke of the day, Ms. Sinkay. Haben Sie ein Joker? We need a mic. Joke. Yes, I've got one if you don't. All right, so if con is the opposite of pro, isn't Congress the opposite of progress? Food for thought and a joke as well. Bruce, or Joe, how about I do you?